Hi, I'm really glad you asked that question because this is something near and dear to my heart. What is a community and how is that constructed online? And how can we foster it in those dreaded Zoom sessions? Is kind of the questions that I was beginning to ask. And you get into all sorts of things like culture, beliefs, identity, a lot of stuff related to sociology, which I'm a library liaison to sociology. So we see this in several topics. So I want to show you some of the places that I would go to get started, but I want to give you like a few bits of framework that I would be using to look this up. So from the library, research guides. Hopefully this will be a short video, but I kind of have this feeling that I'm just like, oh, I really want to talk about this. I love the idea of community, and it's something that I had a hard time defining. These are guides for all sorts of different librarians. But I'm just going to go and type in a guide that I made for an undergraduate LEAP class. And it's Campus Guides libutah.edu/LIFE, life. These are freshmen in a LEAP program, which is a first year cohort where students get to spend the whole year together getting to know each other. And I'm a librarian for one of those. And we did this one class called Community and Group Identity with Art. I think this might be a good framework to start with. Framework number one, down on the right-hand side, it should be stated that the idea of community, people have been trying, in sociology anyway, social sciences, they've been trying to define what a community is. Part of the problem with doing that criteria is then they have to go out and test it and see, is this a community? And it got really problematic. So it's been left kind of nebulous and open-ended. There's a book, Conversations on Community Theory, that I read. This one seemed to be the best one. It was kind of like a summary of the 20th century thought. But they proposed, and you can find this, I'll look this up, but they propose that sense of common purpose. So a group of people, but also people who acknowledge their interconnectedness. And there's a lot of communication themes in this. People who respect the individual differences among members. So in the online gaming communities where they have a problem with overt gender bias and harassment, this is where we run into that. Like, well, what does the community do? Do they rely on the system, the mods or the system administrator, whatever? Or do they do things, or can they do things themselves? And then this last one, they commit themselves to the well-being of each other and the integrity and well-being of the group. You could think of the university as a committee, and it's not too hard to imagine. So let me show you this book. From the library catalog, I'm just going to look up that particular title in quotes so it sticks the keywords together. And there's only one book. But I'd recommend looking at this one to start with the history and the framework that you were talking about. Oh, it's checked out. Of course it is. That's a good sign that it means something. But what you can do, you already know that one thing. If you need me to buy another copy, let me know and I will. Or we can recall this one. Oh, that's hilarious. On loan till April. Oh, it must be a good one. But if you see the subject line right here, communities, it puts you into a search. Here's what you can do. So there's 15,000 things. Communities it's not hard and fast, but there's some canon thinking with like what's the definition of community, and that runs across communication, internet, neighborhoods, sociology, public policy. So if you go into this moment right here where it says the subject is communities, then the next thing that we put in there, you can see what I've been looking up. But if you do belonging, there's actually a metric. This is my next research. Is like, how do you measure a sense of belonging? But out of this 15,000, you can go in and you could type in, so let's do internet or gaming or web or social media or World of Warcraft had a big online community, or Facebook, whatever you want to put in. in any field. So that would be looking at the title, the table of contents sometimes, the abstract sometimes, typically not the full text. This is how I would narrow down that 15,000 into those things about community. And this might give you that longitudinal look that you're interested in. Oh God, there's 478,000 results. Oh, okay, maybe that it wasn't the best way to go. Maybe we would do, oh, I have an idea. I didn't think it would go bigger. I thought it would be smaller. For this second line, let's make sure that it's in the title of the document. Let's see if that helps. You only have, there we go. You only have 500,000 articles to go through. I don't know what you're complaining about. If the main subject is community and the title contains one of those words, you can go through these and you can start to see how people are constructing it. But you can also narrow down to your specific keywords that you're interested in. So is there another population that you're interested in? Women or female? Female. I've been spelling Gmail. Women or female or woman or feminine. So if you're looking for a specific population, and this is any field, let's see where this goes. I'm hoping it's less than 15,000. Yay, it's 3,000. So there we go. This might be one of the ways that you could narrow down. This is cool. Surveillance and community language policing. So that's kind of what I was talking about, that harassment. What do we do about the date range? This is what you can do. As you can see, the date range is right here. So if you want to look at discrete moments, like a decade by decade, you could just do this same search and then go in and narrow it down to the 70s and then the 80s and the 90s and see what are the prominent themes or ideas that pop up. Okay, this is the first one. The next one, and I like subject, is communities. Let's try that again. If we go to, oh, let me show you my research guide. So there's databases that I would recommend, but let me show you, I have one for communication that might help in long term for you. Communication. I have a COM guide. It is Campus Guides libutah.edu/communication. But for PhD and master students, I put together a list of my favorite things to look at. So validating keywords and concepts. This is like newspapers, government documents, and non-scholarly things. Discipline-specific research. The library catalog is in this list, so we've already done some of that. But you could go through discipline-specific databases and do similar searches. So for example, Communication Mass Media Complete, good for COM. This is for phenomenon related to people, societies. PAIS is public policy. That one might be good. Education might be good. But cruise around and see what you like. But let's go into Common Mass Media Complete. Let's see if we can duplicate that same search. I'll go into advanced search. And I'm going to do, oh, let me show you another trick. If I don't know if it's community or communities, I could put a star there, and that's a wild card. And I'm going to say, I want it to be in the subject terms. Oh, and we want, and then internet or, do people say World Wide Web anymore? Or social media, or World of Warcraft. So before we go into any of population keywords, let's just see what this gives us. Oh, 1,000. That's not as bad. And all of these are how people communicate and negotiate community. I mean, ideally. Another thing you can do, instead of looking in subject terms, we could just say, I want the article title to have communities. And that one worked better for me. It was more direct. And there's slightly less, but now all of a sudden we have like deliberate, it's part of their hypothesis or problem statement or solution, what have you. So I'm not sure that everyone understands the term community in the way that sociologists do. So beware that there might be some vagueness Okay, so that's 1,000, and here's another dateline that we can go with. Where do we go from here? How do we know what the best ones are? Of course I'm going to answer that question. In this guide, if you scroll down to, let's see, okay, high-level systematic search tools. Depending on the faculty member that you work with, they'll adore Web of Science or Scopus. They both have a lot of overlap and they both do the same thing. So I'll show you Scopus. But if they like Web of Science, it has that same trick where you can look things up by impact. And this one, you can also add a search field and do that same thing. So I'm going to do my community star trick, and I'm going to say I want that in this article title. There it is. Oh no. There it is. Article title. And then in the abstract, I want them to talk about the context. Net or World Wide Web or social media. You get the idea. You could focus down to a specific platform if you wanted to. The thing about this database is it's multidisciplinary. So it's looking at engineering, computer engineering, psychology, humanities, but it's only showing the top tier journals, the journals that have the greatest respect in their fields of study. Another way of measuring that or talking about that is the criteria of impact. So if I publish an article and a bunch of people cite it, I've got impact. I'm influencing the direction the field takes. So out of these 6,000, if you go and sort by the number of times cited, this is a measurement of impact. Understanding word of mouth marketing. Oh, there was a great one that I found before I made this video. Oh, social, yeah, this is the one. So here we have some of the names of things that we might be interested in. If you are a member of a community, you maybe possess social capital, so that might be another keyword to put in there. Do you use social capital to make other people feel welcome, or is it like a power play? A whole bunch of stuff going on with stuff like that. So say, for example, that was one that we liked. Social capital and community commitment. Say this one, we love this one, but it's from 2001, but you can see it's been cited 1,000 times. What have they done for us lately? These are all the articles that cited this. These articles couldn't exist without this one. But it's 20, 21 years ago. So you can click on this, and you can order those by. There's belonging. That thing that I'm studying. I can't help but cruise through these. I adore the idea of community. And so here's the highest cited ones. Facebook friends. And I like how they put it in quotes. So this is kind of those ideas. If you haven't been into Scopus or Web of Science, there's no full text. So you have to click on this little Find It button. Or if you go into the article level, the Find It button exists in here. And I think my ad blocker has blocked the icon. So yours might have like an icon. But if you click on the Find It, it will open up in the library catalog and it will look for that record. And it'll look for the databases that it shows up in. If you run into trouble, so if you click on this and it doesn't give you the article immediately, or if you get frustrated and you don't want to look it up, you may, if you prefer, go down to this Request an Article. It is for students, staff, and faculty. And this will open up Interlibrary Loan, and they will go grab it for you. Whether we have it or whether another institution has it, you don't have to care. It takes about a day, sometimes less than a day. The record I've seen is 10 minutes. But I wonder if they were having a slow day. Okay? Let me know how it goes. I think that guide that I showed you has some other ideas for cruising around in, but if you're looking for specific disciplines or names or things like that, I would love to help. I'm very interested in this sort of thing.